Now, wait a minute, listen for just a second now, guys. All right. This one's particularly hard because there's positives and negatives. All right, but today we're going to compare fractions. Now remember, you don't have to write out the 3/5 and the 4/5, but this one's a pretty easy comparison. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I know.
And we would say 3/5 is what?
3/5 is less than a 4/5.
Right. But now what I'm going to do today is we're going to do this right here. Do this favor for me. You can just write less than. But let's just say for some strange reason I didn't know. Right? There's a technique that when you compare fractions, listen to me. All right? There's a technique when you compare fractions is to multiply. Kind of the numerator, please watch. I'm going to multiply this 3 times this 5. And then I'm going to put it right above this fraction. And then I'm going to write this 4 times this 5, and I'm going to put it, yeah, it is the other way, guys. I'm just being crazy. So 3 times 5 is 15 goes here. Sorry about that. And 4 times 5 is 20 goes here. Does everybody see that?
That's what I did.
Right.
So.
Because I don't really feel like writing as a decimal.
So you put 3 times 5.
Right above the 3.
Can you just do like 5 times 3 and 4 times 5?
That's what I did.
I don't.
You with me? And I'll show you again because I kind of messed that up. So I want to make sure I'm correct. Go ahead.
Isn't that like cross?
Yes, kind of like cross multiplying, but it's not a proportion. All right, it's not a proportion. Here we go. What? Well, no. I'm not worried about number 2 yet, even though I appreciate you. Okay. Let me make sure I do a good job with this. All right. So let me give you another example. So if I was comparing 3/7 to, let's say, 4/9. All right, how would I do that? Right. Yes. And 7 times 4 is? 28. Perfect. And so now 28 is larger than 27, right? So we would say this.
So you multiply 3 times 9 7 times 4?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So you
right.
across.
Yes, you're multiplying across. That's the easy way to compare fractions.
Did you do up and down? Or you
No, not up and down. Listen, if it was something different, I would tell you. Something different, I would tell you. What's the matter? I'm not sure why you're so late today. What is that for? What? What were you doing? All right, come on, Thomas. You got to move faster. We're working on that, right? Come on, Thomas. Well, you're a little late. All right, you just look up here. Shh. Now, again, we have to be real careful with negatives. All right? It appears that 7 is greater than 5, correct? But not when we're doing negatives. Right? Negative 5/8 is what? Greater than.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because that's 5/8 away from 1.
Right. 5/8 away from 0. Right. Now, listen, again, if we wanted to practice this, we'd say 5 times 8. This would be negative 40. And 8 times 7 would be negative 56. Everybody see that, right? You with me?
Yeah, it's trying to be easier than
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Also cross cancel.
We're not cross canceling. We're multiplying. Or we're multiplying. So let's take a look at number 3. Right? So on this one, you would do what?
You multiply, so it's 14.
And we'd say negative 14, though, right?
Negative 14 and negative 12.
Right. So now.
So the alligator eats negative 12.
Right. Or we would say less than. Negative 2/3 is less than negative 4/7. Which one what do you think should multiply? Right.
And the last one you did. Yeah, 'cause don't you have to get the same denominator?
This is a different technique, okay? You could get common denominators, but I'm showing you a quick way, okay? All right. Now, look right here, guys. Do you agree they're both 3? So do I really even care about that?
No.
I'm really just comparing the 4/5 to the 2/3, right? So what am I going to multiply? Go ahead.
5 times 2
Which is?
10, and 3 times 4 is 12. And so the alligator is greater, not the addition is greater. I was thinking out Chloe said.
Greater than. What?
That's right. I'm just touched like it. I was thinking out loud.
Hey, hold on. First of all, when you guys come in late, I know, you're trying to get settled. All right, the same thing I was telling him. You guys come in late, we're working. Now we're going to get you caught up. All right, which is kind of bad because we got here on time. You with me? All right. So, what? Did you have a problem? For fractions, that's exactly correct. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. All right, Thomas, you still good back there? All right, let's take a look now at 5. Now, the decimals is really easy. All right, yes, let's explain why. Do you agree that so far we're equal, right?
Yeah.
Still what?
Yeah.
But now 5 is greater than 2, right?
Yeah.
So that's less than. Now again, listen to what I'm telling you now. I want you to put your eyes up on the board and make sure you're following me along, because I'm not even asking you to write it down. Right? I'm asking you to pay attention to make sure you understand what I just said. All right? Now, let's go to the next one. All right? Now here's how you compare. So far they're what? Equal. Then we go to the next one. Not equal. Now, the fraction bar just means it repeats, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm looking at are the second 2 digits. Which one's bigger?
5.
Therefore, it had to be this,
I feel like I'm in preschool.
So
right?
you stop.
Does everybody see that?
So you stop when you when one number's higher than the other.
Yes, that's exactly what you do. You stop when one number's higher than the other. That's a good way of putting it. Now, a lot of kids, pay attention, a lot of kids think that this one's greater because it says 405. Does everybody hear me now? Don't make that mistake. I'm trying to show you where you're making your mistakes. If you're not paying attention, you're going to make that mistake. Most people think that 405 is greater than 45, so that's greater than, but not in decimals. Tell me, Gavin.
Decimals, isn't there like always like you can keep adding zeros?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. So, but this one would be 45, 45, 45, and so on. All right, what?
Before the decimal, would you still like count the numbers if that was like a 7 and that was like
Yes, yes.
5? Okay, so it doesn't always
Right.
have to be
You'll see. You'll see. All right, now we have a problem because we're dealing with negatives. Is everybody with me on this? Right? So right now they are what?
Oh my God. I don't
They're equal. Are they equal now?
Yeah.
What about now?
know.
No, so I'm stopping there. So now
Isn't it?
it's what?
Less than.
Less than.
It's negative.
Right. Right. It is kind of like opposite. The bigger the negative, the smaller the number. Does everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Right, Carly, go.
So technically what you do is you see each other the evens, so the last numbers tell you the bigger one.
Right, right. Because what you're doing is it's equal until you get to something different. Do you hear me? Now, again, here's 2 and here's 1. So what do most people do? They do this. But we're talking about negatives, right? So it's the other direction. All right, that's very important, guys. Oh, now this is the stuff I hated. But because we're smart, We're going least to greatest. Yes, sir. What are you thinking?
So.
First of all, you have to tell me what 3/4, what decimal is 3/4. Do you remember? Shh.
0.75.
Very nice. Very good. That's what you're doing. 0.75. So I'm going to write, everybody, what I want everybody to write down is I just want everybody to write down 0.55 repeated, 0.75, and then 0.505. Right? Okay. Now, Aiden, which one is the smallest?
Smallest is 5.
Yes, very good. So the answer would be 0.505. Then what? Yes, good job. 0.55, and then what?
0.75.
Is that what your sister showed you?
No, it's not.
Okay. All right, perfect.
Wait.
0.505, 0.55, and 0.75. Carly, speak up, always.
Least to greatest, right?
Least to greatest.
I have a question.
Good.
How would the 755 be more less than the 75?
That's why I put it second.
But I mean like but there's a lineup of the 55 one and it keeps going on.
Yeah, but again, that just means it's 0.555555.
Oh yeah.
Remember, you're only comparing, like right now, eyes up. Uh-oh, I can't even say that. Right now, those two are tied for the smallest. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
But then this is a 0, and this is a what? So therefore, the 0 is
Less than.
right. So what I do on the test is this, guys. Look, what most people think if I do this, 0.9, and then I do 0.814762. Most people think 0.814762 is what? Greater. It isn't. Did everybody see that? Right, so you all know that. All right, so whenever you're comparing decimals, you just compare number by number by number. All right? Okay, so now, obviously, Bradley, which one's the smallest?
The smallest is 2.
No,
2.
no. Obviously, obviously the smallest one is the what? The negative. There's only one negative, right? So the negative has to be smaller. Is everybody agreeing with me? So negative 13/5 goes first. All right, Bradley, then what? 2.05 goes next. Then 2.5. I'm pretty happy with that. Is everybody agreeing with me? It's not that hard. All right, the only difference from last year is we have negatives now. All right?
Yesterday's stuff was hard.
Okay, so now, which one is obviously the smallest?
0.8, negative 0.875.
Good. Now, does anybody remember what 5/8? I told you to try to remember that. What is 5/8?
Oh, it's like 0.8.
All right, so let's divide it out real quick. 8 goes into 5.000.
It's 0.875.
Is that like
How many times? 6 times.
48. Then you have 2, 20.
Hold on a second.
20 twice.
48. So 8 goes into 20
Twice.
twice with how much left over?
4.
And then 8 goes into 40.
8 goes in 45 times.
Right. So 5/8 is the same as 0.625. All right.
Oh, I remember.
So Gavin, which one would be next?
The next one would be 6.65.
Exactly. You could put either one. I'm going to put 5/8. And then the last one would be what?
0.87.
Yeah, guys, that's not that hard, right?
The 0 doesn't matter, right?
No, it does not matter. And you don't have to put it there either. All right, because I was lazy. I never put the 0 there. All right, now let's look at 11, guys. All right, let's just go around the room now. Thomas, let's start with you on 11. What's the answer? What did you say? Is it there? Very good. So everybody put a less than. All right, I feel like everybody should be able to do number 12 properly also. Let's go with Bradley.
Greater than?
Greater than. Now remember, guys, if you accidentally write the wrong sign, please tell me so I can talk about it and make sure you understand what I'm saying. Carter, are you okay? How's your back? What happened? Yeah, that hurts. All right. So here we go. So now, were you here when I had the discussion over what to do with these fractions? All right.
No, I don't.
Okay, so watch. Here's the explanation. You always take this number and multiply by this number. What's that? That is correct, buddy. Negative 45. And then what you do is you take this and multiply it by this. What's that? Yep, that's exactly how easy. It's much easier rather than change it to decimals. Do you agree? So we would say what? Negative 45 is what compared to negative 48?
Oh, wait, no, greater than.
Yeah, because it's negative. Okay. Again, you got to be happy with that. Everybody good?
No.
All right, Aiden, let's let you talk about this. Now, do I really have to do anything with the tens?
No.
No, we're just comparing 3/4 and 3/5.
It is greater than.
Yes, you're very good, buddy. Because that was 15 and that was 12.
This is actually
All right.
hard.
Gavin, no, it's easy. I told you guys. You pay attention, everything is easy. All right, here we go. Gavin, you got an easy one. Greater than.
Not a lot of greater than 4 in a row.
All right. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Oh, this should be
Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4.
No, you don't need to do that.
Oh, so it would be 3. Negative 3/4 is less than 1/4.
Yay, very good, because it's negative.
See the next dollar.
Right.
I think this is actually
Yes, you can. You're up. 17. What am I looking at? Obviously.
Greater than.
Obviously, it's greater than. Nice work. All right, is everybody happy with that? I told you guys, easy section. Oh, this is an easy one
It's,
too.
whatchamacallit, less than. 'Cause-
Yes, very good. It's less than. Or we could just say whatchamacallit. All right, you just put whatchamacallit on your test, you got full credit.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, okay. Shh. No, you don't. Why don't you? Miss Buchanan, why don't you have to do that? Because one of them is, yes, you see how tricky they can be, right? So I'm just trying to point out to her and to everybody else, it's very important to look at the numbers before you just automatically multiply, right?
Yes.
And that way you can see if one's negative and one's positive, the positive is always bigger than the negative. Is everybody with me on this now? Right? That's a good lesson right there. All right, now we're just making comparisons. Wow, this one's easy too. Well, who are we at?
Me.
All right, you're up. Which one?
So it's greater.
It's definitely greater than?
No, it's
Yeah.
Alex.
Uh-oh. Next. You're up. They're trying to trick you now.
Is it greater than?
Greater than or less than?
Greater than?
Okay, so now, remember what I told you. You're always comparing the first number. I know.
0.
Wait a minute. Listen to what you just said.
Wait, I
That was kind of funny. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, I'm not even gonna lie. That was kind of funny. Here we go. What are we doing here? 0 is greater than 1. Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and talk to Miss Barth.
This Barth's
so
great.
do you start after the decimal?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Right, the numbers in front were just both what?
0.
So I just kind of ignored it.
Zero's
All right, we're gonna let her redeem herself on 21. Shh. All right,
That's
let's see.
22.
Uh-oh. All right, 21, Smarty. All right, now this one you got to think a little bit on.
Okay.
Be careful. Now remember,
It's less
the 4s don't matter, right?
than. Yeah. It's less
Now this would be 2 and the 2, 6 and 6. But what would
than.
come?
That's repeating, so it would be 2.
Yay, girl! There you go. That's good thinking. Right.
Now,
Exactly.
the
Yes.
When something's repeating and the line is over,
Hey.
like, if the line is over like
One number, it's that number
Is
that
that just that number when it's over like a
Two
couple, then
numbers,
it's those?
that's-
Okay.
exactly. All right, so here we go. Miss Buchanan, 22. You got an easy one. Because it's automatically, this was negative, true? Is that what you were thinking? You with me? One's negative, one's positive. The negative is always less than the positive. Thomas, do you get yourself situated all back there? No, I know we're going to finish. I am going to finish, but I'm making sure, Thomas. You good?
I couldn't write down a couple places.
All right. No, don't. He's going to go back and do it. All right, he's going to go back and do it. We're working on getting faster. All right, which brings me to Thomas. You're looking at 23. So think about it carefully, please. What do you think? Now, it looks greater than Thomas because this 7 is greater than this 0, right? But you forgot that there was what involved? Right. Now, let me show you what else I used to do to help myself out. Please pay attention and look up. And here's how I help myself out a bunch. I always knew that if you had the same number of decimal places, it would work just like a normal number. So what do I mean by that? I made this negative 70 and this 7. Does everybody see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why wouldn't that be negative?
Well, it is. You're right. It is negative 7. Thank you. I'm sorry. It is negative 7. Right? So then this would clearly be this way now. Does everybody agree with that? I always compared the decimals. This was short, so I just added a 0. And then I was comparing 70 to what? 7.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's easy.
Yeah, that's a nice way to do. If you're not sure, is make them the same number of decimal places and then just read the number without the decimal. That always works also. Go ahead. All right, good. Come on. Nope, stay with me.
There's a lot of
All right. Now, for number 24, which brings me, you're up.
Okay, so number 24, is it less than?
Absolutely correct. Because 0 is less than 8.
5 in a row.
Shh, 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 shh. Okay, 25. I'm writing from small to large. We already did 5/8 once, so you should look at your notes, cross out 5/8, and somebody tell me what it was.
0.625.
Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I really would like for you to memorize 5/8 is the same as 0.625 because we use it a lot. All right, did I skip you or did you do one after Thomas? No, Thomas went right.
Yeah,
I can't remember if you went after Thomas or did you go after Thomas? All right, so you're up. Read me 25. Smallest to greatest. What would it be?
smallest, okay, so that'd be 0.7 would be
I don't think so. Shh. Don't help him. You see why that's the smallest, right? Well, no, because the 6. Remember, you're counting, you're looking at them first number.
Oh, okay. I got confused.
Right? You're all right. So what's the smallest again?
0.625,
Then what?
then 0.7,
Then what?
0.755.
Exactly. Okay?
30 or
30.
40? Oh, 30? It's in 40.
All right, we're going to 30.
Woo, yay.
So we're definitely gonna make it.
Yeah, we'll make it.
All right, now, does anybody remember what 4/5 was? You guys should know that as a decimal also. Gavin, do you remember what 4/5 was?
Is it 4/5? Well, I know that it would be
How many out of 10?
4/5 out of.
4/5, yes, 8/10,
Oh, so it's 8 times.
which is the,
Oh, so it's 0.8.
yes. So 1, I want everybody to cross out and put, or 1 and 4/5, I want you to write 1.8. All right, so Gavin, I'm going to let you do smallest to largest.
Okay. So first it would be 0.6.
Mm-hmm. Then what?
Then it would be 1.8,
Good job.
and then the last
Nice. Very good. Okay, Carter, I'm going to let you get back involved here real quick, buddy. All right. Now, obviously, which one's the smallest? Shh, don't help him.
-2.25.
Yes, obviously that's the smallest. All right. Can you tell me what 21 divided by 10 is? 2 point.
2.1.
Yes, very good. Right, because everybody understand that's the same as 2 and 1/10, which is same as 2.1. Is everybody happy with that? So then what would be the next smallest number, Gavin? Or I'm sorry, Carter. Yes, very good. Yep, there you go. Beautiful. Beautiful.
No, 28.
You're up.
Okay.
I'm looking up. Okay, so we're doing 28. Hold on a second. Shh, Jack. Follow along, please. All right, 28. Now we know which one's the biggest, obviously. Which one's the biggest? Has to be the biggest.
Negative.
Has to be the biggest.
Oh, one and a half.
Right, we could say 1.5. You'd be okay with that.
My answer is
No. All right, you figure that out. Which one's the smallest? Shh, quiet. Let Jack think for a second. Hey. All right. Thomas, you got those last couple problems to do, Thomas. I'm not going to accept you being late anymore, okay?
It's negative.
Yes.
It's negative.
Yes, I said, Thomas. Now you're interrupting.
Negative 3.02 with the line across.
Wow, I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you. Negative 3.02 with the line across. Then what?
Then negative 3.02.
Very good. That was a trick question. How is that? Because let's compare. Negative 3.02020202. Do you see that? And the next one is just negative 3.02.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So they're the same
But then,
until I get to here.
oh, yeah, you're right. And then
Oh.
you were thinking.
Right? Do you understood that?
Yeah.
So then wouldn't 3.02 be less than?
It is. No, because they're negatives.
Oh.
So the more negative, the smaller.
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, that's a trick question. I wish you'd put a star by that one to make. If you missed it, you weren't sure about it. All right, here we go.
Wait, it's him.
Did I skip you? Okay. All right, we'll get this one. Go.
It's negative 2.98.
Very good, buddy. Negative 2.98.
And then negative 2.9.
Yes. And obviously 2.88 was the largest because it's the only one that's positive.
Last question, guys.
Is everybody good with that? All right. Yeah, Aiden's up. Okay. Now, do you remember what? This one was the easy one. 4/5. What decimal is 4/5? 0.8. Very good job, buddy. Now, this one was the annoying part. So listen, guys, I need your attention up here. We're going to divide 5/6 out. Even though we did it in our notes yesterday, I still want you to look up. We're going to divide 6 into 5. Now, listen. Here's what I always try to tell kids. You don't have to divide it all the way out until it's either you know it's smaller or larger. Right? So this is a 5.0. All right? So now how many times, let him do it. How many times does 6 go into 50? 8 times. Right? So now it's 48. Bring down a 0. Let him do it. How many times does 6 go into 20? 3. Now, can I stop there? Yes, I can. Right? Because I know which one's the smallest. Which one's the smallest? What's 4/5?
Oh, I mean 0.8.
You understand that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so you would write down 4/5. Then what?
Then 0.82.
0.82. And then what?
Then
I would write the fraction.
0.8.
Right. The reason I wouldn't write 0.83 because 5/6 isn't the same as 0.83. You understand what I'm saying? I would write the fraction. All right. Now listen. Boy, that was pretty good. Sit down though. You gotta listen to me for a second though. All right. I got a few minutes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call you to my desk and take a look at the last night's homework and tonight's homework. Make sure you did it all. All right. Even though, you know, you were in class. All right. What?
I just realized I did this on.
I want you working in pencil. All right. So here we go. Let me save this, and then if